Hello and welcome to The Tech, the show where the hairdos are fake and the points don't matter. Max, there'll be hell to pay. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone on the internet. Everyone on the internet, share this video immediately. Oh, we've got new t-shirts coming soon. Where's that thing? Can I show you guys the t-shirt? I'll show you guys later. They're not tech t-shirts at all. They're about the campaign. But we're starting a new store called Epic Pants, and that'll be happening in like the next week or so. Gonna have some fun stuff in there. Maybe some toupees. I'm on this toupee kick. What on earth? Fast news. What about it?
We probably won't have Epic Pants right away.
No. The pants are hard to get these days. I mean, I don't wear them when I'm here. You guys can't see what's under the table, but it ain't pants. If it was pants, they'd be epic, but all out of stock. Fast news, shall we? Shall we get started here? iOS 6. I'm going to talk about Apple quite a bit. So like the first 4 or 5. If you guys want to skip to like minute number 5, you'll skip a lot of the Apple stuff. But if you want to see what's going on in the world, because Apple is in charge of a lot of things that are going on in the world, you start right now. I have no idea what I said. So in iOS 6, if you have an iPhone 5, the ad tracking is turned on. And that means that they track everything you do and then sell it to advertisers. You can go and turn it off. It's in the About Me section. Right, Wendell?
Yeah, it's in About. So that's right above Privacy. Because, it makes sense to put this in About and not in Privacy.
Yeah, so it's strange. I mean, a lot of the Apple users will never go there and never turn this off, but you have to go and manually turn it off. And then another thing that's strange about this, instead of saying turn off ad tracking, it says limit ad tracking. And I've already talked to somebody about this, and they were like, dude, no, who cares? What are you, like, yelling about Apple all the time for? And I was like, dude, these guys are wordsmiths. They don't hire people to come up with copy that, unless it says exactly what they want. They want it to say limit because they are going to limit. It kind of scares me.
Verizon's in trouble right now for a lot of the same kind of thing.
Verizon.
They're just blatantly selling all your stuff, and it's a pain in the ass to opt out. It's really infuriating.
Yeah. Quick note here. If you got kids and they read books, they're going to be smarter. And there's like a big study in science now. It's unbelievable that they actually have to have studies to tell you to read because there's knowledge in these books.
The guy that wrote Freakonomics said that there was a study like that came out like 10 years ago or 20 years ago or whatever, and people ran out and bought books so that as if by osmosis their children would get smarter.
Oh, because the study, like the headline of the study was like, having books in the home leads to smarter children, right?
Yeah.
We should put books everywhere, lay them on the floor, on the ceiling. Maybe we can do the wallpaper in books. Yeah,
because, like sleep with a book under your pillow and your child will be smarter. That's what people were thinking. I don't think that's how that works.
No, a friend of mine gets away with this. He's he got all these books, and I went over there. I was like, "Oh, cool! You got all these books. Have you read this one? What do you think of this one?" He's like, "Dude, I don't read any of that stuff. I just got them because right now I'm trying to attract, like the cute librarian types."
That'll be a lot of fun when they start to try to have a conversation about Foucault.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Have you read this? No, Tolstoy. Oh, I didn't know that you were into that sort of thing." And he's like, "What are you talking about? Into what? Worldly possessions. All that kind of stuff. You don't like them? Oh, I love world. Never mind." I don't know why I went off on Tolstoy for a second. Were you talking about Foucault?
Foucault.
Yeah. Well then, look him up. You better. All right. The iPhone 5. Foxconn has been complaining, and there's been a shortage, and Apple's been complaining as well. And Apple says, the reason there's a shortage is because there's not enough parts, and the people who are there, Foxconn is training more people to put these things together, but they're difficult to put together. And Foxconn finally came out and they said, no. All this junk that everyone's saying, that's not exactly the case. The brass tacks here is that the iPhone 5 is the most difficult device that Foxconn has ever assembled. That's a direct quote from one of the unnamed executives in a Wall Street Journal interview.
And Lord knows they've been hiring scores of 14-year-olds with the small hands.
They have to, because the parts are so small, it requires delicate focus and touch. Delicate, like little pieces.
Poor children.
Yeah, and there's been riots because there's quality and control inspectors that walk around the floors, making these people, pushing them to make more, and they're already working like 16, 18, 20 hours a day. It's ridiculous. So finally, you know what? The people on the work floor, they finally snapped and just started physically beating the quality controls inspectors. And the executives are up there walking around, and the reports from that were that the executives would just kind of look down and be like, "Oh shit, that'll take care of itself. I'm going to go have coffee." Just let that work itself out. That doesn't look too bad.
I'm really impressed with how many reports of that have been suppressed, because about 50% of that is probably hearsay or rumor. But,
right.
It's probably happening, but they really kept a really tight lid on it.
Right. Well, I mean, Apple is not exactly the only company to blame for Foxconn's transgressions. There's so many companies that use Foxconn. There's 1 million employees at Foxconn. If you've got a motherboard, Foxconn. If you've got a graphics card, probably something from Foxconn on there, a piece somewhere that says Foxconn. Just, you know what? Look at your underwear. It probably says Foxconn somewhere on there. If you've got the new microchipped underwear like I do.
My underwear's got USB 3.
So many places we could go, but I'm not going to.
That's willpower.
Yeah. Oh, man. Remember we were talking about all the redacted documents from the Apple Samsung case and how some of those were coming out, and I read some of the redacted documents. I'm not sure if I talked about this on the show, but I put up an article where I read some of the redacted documents, some of the documents that Apple used. Now they're unredacted, I guess, or whatever. They've been
Judge
uncensored.
Koh refused to seal them.
Yeah. That's the beauty of this, because Apple really wants all these documents sealed. There's a lot of documents that are out there, and Apple, all the time, they're always releasing, like reports of revenue, but they do not release reports showing the revenue of individual items. And it really hurts their case when you look at these reports and, like they're trying to get an extra $500 and something million on top of the billion. That's what they're asking Judge Koh for. And now that these documents are coming out, it's going to show exactly how much they make on a per item basis. And apparently it doesn't add up. Like, it doesn't make sense. So it's going to make them look completely ridiculous in the public eye that these documents are coming out. There's also some documents, I'll put a link to it, that I read that were, one of the reasons that the verdict was delivered in the way, delivered for $1 billion. Those documents, the really incriminating ones, the ones that said that Samsung was encouraging their employees to copy Apple. I read those documents, and it did not say that. So it's pretty interesting to read the uncensored versions of those documents. Now, speaking of the trial, the whole thing has been going on in the UK as well. And in July, a judge told Apple, and it's kind of a slap in the face. I think it's hilarious. But he told Apple, you know what? Your devices, or Samsung devices, do not infringe on any of your design patents because look at the two of them. This one is clearly, the Apple device is clearly sexier. It's clearly, sleek. So he gave them like a taste of their own medicine. Apple keeps saying that their devices are superior to everyone. And the judge was like, yeah, of course. I've got an iPad myself. And of course they're superiors, and there's no way that could be confused because it's inferior. And so that was good, from a design perspective. Anyway, Apple appealed that, and now after the appeal, they lost the appeal, and the courts have ordered Apple to make a public apology. On their website for 6 months, they have to run a banner that says that Samsung did not rip them off in any way.
Not just the website, newspapers as well.
Yeah, they also have to put it in several newspapers. I'm not sure if there's a TV commercial or not involved. That would be hilarious. A public apology. So, way to go, UK. That's great to see. Makes me wonder if everything was rigged here in America, in California. I wonder if Judge Koh was paid.
There's an interesting pattern of stuff like that in America. But
Max, you read an article about her being paid off, right?
Something like that. She was a juror way back
hearsay.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, she basically misled a trial in the 90s that's cropping up now.
Huh.
Yeah,
Pandora's box has been opened up.
Yeah, we're going to dig into that a little bit more.
The Samsung's saying that about the jury foreman too.
Well, yeah, the jury foreman. Yeah, he'd been in a few lawsuits, and he didn't disclose that either.
Yeah, there was.
He'd been involved in some patent lawsuits himself.
With not Samsung but Seagate.
Yeah.
But it was more than 10 years before the trial, so
he still should have disclosed it. I mean,
yeah, the instructions there was some confusion over the instructions because I think the instructions said list any lawsuit, and he interpreted it to mean any lawsuit in the last 10 years. So I don't know what that's about. That's
that guy
really
is
weird.
really stupid. I'm sorry. I've read some quotes from him, and I've seen him in an interview. He's like, like borderline put him in a home.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't talk about this kind of thing, but I don't know. It's crazy.
Really
Woz
stupid.
weighed in on all this too,
Yeah, I know. Well, that was a while back, but Woz, what did he say? Something about
Oh, he's like, I don't understand. All these companies, he says basically something to the effect of is, all these companies
all the
have these huge patent portfolios, and it's like, why can't we all just get together and cross-license and then make the world a better place? And it's like, how very Woz of you, Woz.
No, really. Yeah, if he could just run the entire technology world, man. Everything. He came to Kim.com's defense. We'll talk about all that in a minute. It's another really quick thing. If you want to explore a Google data center, they've now added one of their top secret facilities to Google Street View. The article's on Tech Syndicate. Check that out. It's pretty cool. You can walk around and see the inside. Some people are saying that it looks like the inside of a Borg ship, but with nice lights and colors,
Oh, there's a Stormtrooper Easter egg, too.
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
There's been all kinds of funny Easter eggs. People wearing like the Google propeller hats and stuff. You walk around, you'll see a lot of really funny things. Anyway, in France, the French government is proposing a law. I'm not sure if it's French government. French lawmakers are proposing a law that would force search engines to pay for the content on their websites. So let's say, like the news snippets. Like when you look for a news article, there's a snippet of that news article. Well, in France, they want you to pay for having that content on your website or on Google. Google's like, this would affect like 4 billion clicks a month. They said it would be so detrimental that it would do permanent damage to Google as a whole. So that's pretty ridiculous. But they said, here's what Google finally said. They said, sure, go ahead. We'll just stop linking to French media. That's it.
Sounds like a good plan to me.
Go ahead and do your moronic stuff. Google just won't have any links to French media.
Oh, Google was also their profits were down 20%. They announced their earnings.
Yeah, I wasn't going to talk about that, but because they weren't supposed to announce their earnings. I was going to
It was supposed to happen at 4:00 today, but
Yeah.
it happened at 1:00.
Yeah, someone released it early. Yeah, they're down like 9% their stock.
Yeah, well, their earnings were down, and so their stock immediately tanked 9%. See, they weren't supposed
That's
to announce it until after trading had closed.
Right.
So, I don't really see that as a big deal. I think people are freaking out over nothing.
20%. Year to year, you don't think that's a big deal at Google? Google's that's
well,
huge.
it's temporary. I think it's transient. It's not a pattern yet.
Yeah. I guess you're right. They have been doing a lot of.
They've been spending a lot of
They're
money.
always playing the 5-year game.
Yeah.
Or the 10-year game, not the right now game like everyone else is playing.
And they just rolled out, fiber infrastructure in Kansas. That couldn't have been cheap.
Yeah. Invest in Google. Right now is a good time. Their stock's down a little bit. Grab some.
Yeah. I'd say a lot of people will do that, and they'll be right back up in a day or two.
Speaking of being right back up in a day or two, we are not talking about that. We are talking about Mega Upload.
Kim.com.
Yes, he's back. Mega Upload is dead. Long live Mega, says Wired. We're big fans of Kim.com. At least I am. I can't say so for everybody else, which just got me on an FBI list. Damn it.
Oops.
Why does mentioning somebody's name, especially a fat German who lives in New Zealand, why does that get you in so much trouble these days?
Because he's upsetting the status quo.
He is really just
He's rocking the boat.
He's giving it the worst Indian burn ever. It's like, was that your status quo? Let me just Indian. No, wait. Is that your status quo? I can't do the. Can you do the accent? The Kim.com accent? The American
German
people.
accent?
Yeah, the American people have got the status quo, and it is bad. I'd rub it. I don't
Isn't
know.
he from Switzerland?
No, he's from Germany.
He's from Germany?
Yeah,
Oh,
German.
He's German.
Or is it Austrian? I don't know.
Deutschland.
He's from.
I will give you the,
He's from.
Indian band.
He's from the internet. Anyway.
Against the Indian band, yeah.
Everybody calm down. I'm from the internet.
He's Mega Upload's dead, of course. All without any reason. No, hasn't been charged with anything yet. But Mega is coming out, and they say that Mega is going to be immune to all the nonsense. Here's what they're doing that's different from Mega Upload. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. However, when you upload a file, there's encryption immediately put on that file in the browser. They've created a quote-unquote advanced encryption algorithm. And on top of that, you get a decryption key. Only you have that decryption key. So now you have the unlock. You can't just throw something up there and send someone a URL and let anybody download it. Now you are totally responsible because you have that key. You have to actually make an effort to share that key with people. So, of course people are still going to be using it the same way they were before, but think about the implications in court. He's going to be like, come on, guys. How do you think this could go if he went to court again?
Yeah, there's no way to show, especially if they don't have anything in their infrastructure, to keep the keys or save the keys, which they probably won't. It's probably going to happen all client side.
Right. And the other thing that's interesting, it happens in browser. It's beautiful. The other thing that's interesting, since it's going to be encrypted, they're not going to be able to see the files themselves because they're encrypted unless they have the key, but they won't have the key, so they don't have any knowledge of what is on their servers. They are just providing cloud storage.
It's mathematically provable that they don't know what's going on.
Yes.
Which is inconvenient for the court because you can't usually prove a negative.
Oh, their knickers are going to be in such a wad.
But in this case, you can prove a negative, which is awesome. It's brilliant.
So he's got Megabox and Mega. This guy is going to be Mega Internet soon or something. I don't know.
There's been a few interesting turns in the U.S. case on that lately too.
Yeah, let's just talk about that for just a second, because
so basically the judge said that that they were like, you need to file a motion to dismiss this with prejudice because we haven't been served and that's required in Rule 4 and blah blah blah. And he said, well, I can't do that because this is just a procedural error, but you might be able to file for a temporary motion to dismiss.
Right.
And they immediately responded by saying, oh, well, we did that way back a long time ago, like in July, I guess.
Yeah, right here it says in response they filed a motion. They
which was also denied.
right.
And so it's like, is the judge on something, or is he bought and paid for, or what's up with that? That doesn't make any sense.
So we're saying that it's possible that he could be extradited and then tried as quote unquote Mega Upload, like he is Mega Upload.
Yeah, the judge was saying that he could be extradited and then served, which is sort of crazy because it's like you can shut down the infrastructure and do all this stuff
Right.
before they ever have a chance to respond. But then the judge says, well, no, you can file a temporary motion to dismiss until we get all our ducks in a row. But that's what they asked for months ago.
Right.
So it's
and
really...
now, well, they've refiled now. I mean...
Yeah. So, and then in New Zealand, things are going well in New Zealand in terms of the New Zealand people are getting fed up with the shenanigans. I mean, it's a complete circus.
Even the president apologized publicly to Kim.com.
The whole thing has been a circus.
Yes. It's made him so famous, though. I mean, Mega Upload may have been a household name, but now Kim.com is a household name. Speaking of making things raid-proof, the Pirate Bay has now moved entirely to the cloud. So now they can't do any more, raids on different server companies or whatever, or hosting companies. Do you think it's going to be secure now? I mean...
Well, their load balancer or something is still, whatever, but there are multiple redundant copies of, I guess, whatever runs their site at multiple data centers around the world. So if something happens to one, they could just bring up another.
Right.
But they've gotten their infrastructure so small that, it's like 90 meg for the whole site. The whole site is seated in like 90 meg.
That's insane.
You can get 90 meg across the world in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, the other thing that's interesting about that, I've heard some rumors that they may actually be going to a peer-to-peer way, like where it's just hosted on several people's computers, and it's like it becomes just out there on the internet. And that way, I mean, even right now, if somebody wanted to, if a government agency wanted to or something, they could break down 100 doors and seal them all off. They could figure out where all the different, cloud hostings servers were. But that's kind of interesting. We're going to talk about one more thing on this case, because a lot of all this nonsense has been happening because the agencies in charge, the RIAA, the MPAA, the entertainment industry and that sort of thing, really feel like it's taking money out of their pockets. And I want to say that it's not taking money out of their pockets. It's giving users a new way to experience content and a new way to discover content. And now there are some studies here. The Columbia University did a study. The Dutch Institution for Information Law, they did a study. Some other organizations did a study. And they have discovered that people who pirate music and movies are more likely to buy music and movies. In fact, 3 to 4 times more likely. 3 times more likely to pay for downloads and streams. 4 times more likely to pay for music and streams.
It's not surprising at all because it's a cultural factor that people seek out this kind of stuff.
And we're going to make a special about this very soon. We've got a whole special coming up on the Telecommunications Act, but we're trying to get to the root of things. That's what we do around here. There's a lot of tech organizations out there that are run by guys who have no idea what's going on in the tech world. It's almost like a bunch of hipster journalists at all these different places who do not understand the core. And that's what we want to do. We want to get to the root instead of the tree with instead of the leaves and the branches, right? That makes sense?
We're earthworms, not Keebler elves.
Yeah. Where'd that come from? What I'm trying to say there is I think that a lot of it came from, like you said, people around a campfire being able to share stories. And then, like in the 50s, things started, even, I guess as soon as the TV came out, things started to change because these corporations became the campfire stories. And they're like, wait, we can just push all of our information into their brains. And then we become the community that provides the content, and then they run around and talk about what we're doing. So even if something sucks on TV, everybody watches it so they can have that communal experience where they sit around and talk about how god-awful Snooki's poof is. And, oh my God, she looks like Garfield with her orange. Did you see? I couldn't believe it. That's what they want. But now that the internet is taking over, there's a new campfire to sit around. We don't have to listen to their horse nonsense anymore. Horse nonsense.
And that's why you guys are here.
Yeah. Because we've created this for you.
You're sitting around the campfire that is the tech.
So welcome to our campfire. Pass the freaking s'mores.
It turns out that you can have a better cultural experience with actual real other people than remanufactured media tripe. Exactly.
And the other thing that's beautiful about that is you're going to discover things that normally you never would have discovered before. We can share some awesome music. We can share some awesome, indie films. Stuff like that.
Hey, check out the band on my shirt kind of thing.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's like, hey, Breed, check them out. They're not going to play those guys on the radio. They can't handle that kind of stuff.
We love you guys.
Yeah, that segment is coming very soon. Have you seen the time, Wendell?
It's Rant 30.
It is Rant 30. This is very troubling. So remember, Microsoft spent a ridiculous amount of money to acquire Skype. Well, now they have the ability to eavesdrop on everything that is said on Skype. Every word, every breath, every I love you, I miss you, every how ready you guys want to get together for a business thing. Or let's, like bomb some place. They can hear all that stuff.
It's probably to make the government happy with their whole wiretap laws thing.
It really is. I mean, it's all for the government. When you think about it, they're just trying to play nice with the government.
The feds have asked Microsoft and Apache and things like that we need stuff in Apache and stuff in IIS and stuff in blah, 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 so these websites can be wiretap ready. And it's like, oh, what do you mean? It's like, we need to be able to just have a wiretap, whenever.
Yeah, well, it's time to find a Skype alternative, preferably one that's encrypted. You know what's interesting? Speaking of encrypted, there's a new surveillance-proof app on iOS, believe it or not. Now, you read this article. I haven't looked at this one yet, right?
Yeah, so you participate, your phone generates a one-time use key, everything's encrypted, each different phone has a different key, so it would be ludicrously complex to intercept and decrypt this stuff. And
the government's going to be so livid.
Yeah, you wiretap an iPhone, and it doesn't really matter because, your text messages and your communications from that phone using this software is encrypted, and the encryption changes with time. You can even specify, like, how long you want somebody to be able to read the message.
Right. I'm... That's awesome. This message will self-destruct.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, we will disavow all knowledge.
Your mission, if you are an iOS user, is to download Silent Circle. This will just self-destruct, and as soon as my held to pay.
It looks really promising. I mean, this kind of thing, we need more of this kind of thing because it's going to stop this surveillance police state nonsense in its tracks.
Yeah, I mean, or they're just going to start going door to door and beating people because they don't know what else to do. They're like, I don't know what we do. Let's just beat them all. They're all bad.
And we've got videos coming up on that too.
Oh no. Oh, I forgot to read this article. But yeah, there's an 8K ultra high definition digital media streaming deal going on. I didn't read it all. I'm going to leave that article up there because it's interesting. But I feel bad delivering news on something I didn't fully read. I sit here and pretend to, just like other people do.
We know who you are.
Yeah, you guys out there pretending.
We see you. We know what you're up to.
So apparently, silicon nanoribbons in the shape of chicken mesh, like chicken wire. That is the secret to ultra high density data storage.
The trick with the data density is that the access time and transfer rate also has to go up proportionally.
Right.
Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It's too slow to get data on and off of it.
Right. There's a lot of different alternatives out there for ultra high density, and none of them seem to be perfect yet. But we have some groundwork. I mean, that's being done in that area. Of course, we've got to have more data. You know how much data we generate a week in this place?
We need a lot of data.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Anybody want to send us any 20 terabyte NASs? That'd be awesome. Yeah, we need a SAN actually.
Yeah, we need like a 40 terabyte SAN, please.
And some 10 gig uplinks. Fiber's fine. I can run fiber.
Yeah, just go ahead and, if you guys have that laying around in your basement, just go ahead and send it over here. Email me and I'll give you an address. And if you're someone looking for for a good time or whatever, and you're gonna try to get my address and show up, just remember,
bring 10 gigabit Ethernet cards.
Talk about some hardware, shall we? So NVIDIA has these new VGX cards, and they're designed to bring, I guess, graphics performance to virtual machines. So now we've got a few different options going on right now because these cards, I mean, you can run a few different virtual machines, like 3 or 4. I guess with the big card, the VGX K1, you can run like 8 machines, and they'll be able to handle graphics processing and whatnot on one computer. They're Kepler-based GPUs. I mean, you can't like all play DirectX 11 games or anything. They're more designed for like creative type applications.
Basically, the virtual machine has a pass-through interface to the physical hardware on the card.
Right. So therefore, it's not going to have to go through all the nonsense that it used to have to go through. Microsoft, I guess they just came out with their new version of Windows Server 2012, which has Remote FX.
Yep.
And this is something that you can probably talk about better than I can.
Well, the Remote FX is Microsoft's answer to that. And Remote FX is, they want all the data rendering to happen as much client-side as possible. Right. And the new NVIDIA cards do support Remote FX, but they don't get all the features when they use Remote FX. But the idea is that you can have a thin client that does its graphics compositing on the thin client side of the world, so you're not transmitting video. It's all happening local.
Right.
But that means that a service like the whole OnLive thing is more possible.
Right, because you're doing the rendering local instead of on the server.
Right.
So it's a different way to do it, and I think I'd prefer to go with the thin clients myself. But I mean, a lot of people are trying to move away from thin clients.
Yeah, it wasn't really clear from the article if these cards, the new cards from NVIDIA, were meant more for like industrial workload. Like, you know, I'm going to run 8 virtual machines on this single box, and I'm going to do CUDA processing with it. And that's why I need it. But
right, no, I don't think they can handle that. I mean, just looking at them, it doesn't look like they can handle that. It looks like they're going to be able to do like Photoshop and CAD and stuff like that. Well, CAD's pretty demanding, but
yeah. So for I guess virtualized workstations maybe, but I think Remote FX is probably more promising.
Yeah.
And so I was disappointed to see that it didn't support more stuff from Remote FX.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Time will tell. Those are both very new, very not there yet technologies.
Yeah, maybe they can get together and sort of like have a thin client and a powerful server that can do graphics straight to the virtual machines. That'd be really cool. Okay, video games. Not an extreme amount going on in the gaming world this week. Valve has added concepts to Greenlight. A lot of people were complaining because they did the $100 fee if you wanted to put like a game on there or a game that you're working on. Well, you had to pay a $100 fee. Well, now if you've got a game and it's like you're working on it and there's not much done, you can just do a concept. And Steam has waived the $100 fee, so now you just throw your concept up there. That's really the forum that you start on. It's your first foot in the door to see if people like your idea. People can sift through and rate your idea. You can put some screenshots if you have any. You can put some just artwork or whatever. But that's pretty cool. So if you guys are making a game, check out the new concept section. I expect the concept section to be quite crowded with stuff, but hopefully the cream will float to the top.
I like that. I really, that's a really good idea. Gabe's got something going there because, you have an idea and you don't really know if it's worth the thousands of hours required to produce it. Yeah, you throw it up there and then, millions of people want it. Okay.
There's a lot of people that are so bent on creating like, Buttface 5 or whatever, that they're going to get it on there and people are going to be like, this is the worst idea ever. And they're going to be like, no. And they're going to spend thousands of hours anyway. And like,
this is going to be the first fart app on Steam Greenlight.
Oh, man. You remember a couple of years ago, that was the number one app on in the iTunes store for Christmas?
Yeah.
iPhone fart generator.
That's really terrible. Is there an iPhone Yule log? How popular is that? Put an iPad in the fireplace or something.
That's what we should be making, just a fire. Like the iPhone Yule log. Just a fire and a log you lean against the fireplace or a mantle or something.
That's really terrible.
Anyway, things could be a lot worse. We could be on Uranus. I've been waiting all day to say that. The weather patterns on Uranus are amazing. Max, the weather patterns on Uranus. I don't know, but it's pretty windy.
I'm glad you noticed.
Staying out of your way, like 500-something mile an hour hurricanes. That's insane. 560 mile an hour clouds. So scientists have put together a picture of Uranus that we've never seen before.
Phrasing.
I can't help it. Using the Keck telescopes in Hawaii, they've used several infrared cameras, several infrared camera images to put together these amazing pictures that show that it has some extremely active weather patterns. It's a really interesting article, and I'm going to put it up there so you can see Uranus in glorious detail.
Oh, God.
I did it. I couldn't help it. How did I get video games before science? I don't know. I think I've mixed around the stories, but science is next. We should have been doing science and not the Steam Greenlight thing, or whatever. Anyway, so they've been doing some tests with rodents, mice in particular, where they're changing the blood in the mouse from old blood to new blood. And at first they were like, oh, wow, when we put the new blood in the mouse, it changes some of the cellular functions and, repairability and that sort of thing, which is really cool. They're finding more and more that blood is tied to, youth.
The aging process.
Yeah. I mean, who knew the fountain of youth was actually blood? Delicious blood, huh?
This seems like something that we would discover like in the 40s or 50s or 60s. It's like, we're going to give this guy a transfusion for no good reason. Oh, look, he's getting younger.
So, your brain returning to your youth? That's a lot of people, they get old and then they're useless, really. They just sit around, terrible.
Oh,
I'm sorry, old people. You, 67-year-old, eating a banana, making eye contact with people.
Hey, if you're old and still reading this and engaged in the content, you're probably pretty sharp. You're okay.
Yeah, you're pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool old people out there. It's all about activity. If you use it, you get to keep it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So think and read and write and ride your bicycle and all that kind of stuff. I have no idea what Inquisitor is doing on the screen. let's move on. All right, so Guild Wars 2, they've got a little update coming up. I have no idea what this is all about, but apparently there's an update coming up with a bunch of Halloween costumes. There's going to be a costume brawl, so check that out. I haven't played Guild Wars yet, so I think it looks pretty cool. A lot of people are saying that Guild Wars is a smashing success and that it makes financial sense for the players as well, because you can really buy it one time and play and have fun, and you don't need to buy anything else unless you really want to, like those Halloween costumes. Speaking of MMOs, here is an MMO that I'm actually looking forward to. It is from your people, Max, from Poland. An MMO from Poland. Now here's what's interesting about this Gloria Victus, I think is what it's called so right now. But the interesting thing about this is they're taking a risk. MMOs right now, they're colorful, they're bright. It's like people running around with neon archers hitting people with golden tipped arrows and crazy things like that. This one, they're going for more of a gritty realism. Like you'll see blood. The colors are like muted. It's more like they're going for, like I said, gritty realism. So that's kind of piqued my interest. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Article's here on the screen. It's in Polish, but you can use Google Translate to your heart's content. Let me know what you guys think about it. Is it time for a medieval-themed, gritty, realistic MMO? I think it is. I'm actually getting kind of sick of all the bright, colorful stuff. And the last thing of the day, speaking of stuff from that part of the world, where is CD Projekt? They're in the Ukraine, Warsaw. They're in Poland as well. CD Projekt.
CD Projekt is Polish, 100%.
Wow. Okay.
It's some of the guys from People Can Fly.
Leave it to the Polish, man. They do the best death metal, and they do some really awesome gritty games. This place must be a really gritty place.
Tell them to get on my org.
15 years of restructuring does a lot to people, and they don't really have censorship over there. So
no censorship. That explains, The Witcher and everything. So the guys who made The Witcher, CD Projekt, their next game is called Cyberpunk 2077. We talked about it before, but they just launched a website. There's a couple videos up, not of the game, of people like standing on stage talking about it. So you guys can take a look at that. I'm not sure what genre it's going to be. The game Cyberpunk. Not sure. I think it might be a Cyberpunk game, but I'm really not sure, so I'm not going to say anything for sure. That would be stupid.
I'm waiting for my Steampunk Oregon Trail MMO.
We're working on it, aren't they?
I don't know.
I think that one's coming out. That one is coming out of the Ukraine.
Someone needs to email our Polish friends.
Yeah, tell them Oregon Trail Steampunk MMO.
Yep.
Wow. Meta segment. We got t-shirts coming out soon. Let me show you guys what those look like. Just real quick. This is our new one. It's for election season. Remember, George Washington was an independent, and he said that the two-party system was going to destroy the country. So we are going to make a t-shirt. And where the hell is it?
How prophetic.
Yeah, but this is the t-shirt that we're going to be making, and we're going to be selling this on Epic Pants in about a week. And we're really not going to make much profit on this. I want everybody out there wearing one. We're just going to do a run of 100. So let me know if you guys like it. One of my friends made this, and I was like, dude, we are so making that into a t-shirt. He's wearing it around in New York. I was like, where did you get that? He's like, oh, I just, did it in my bedroom, and I made the screen, and then wiped all the paint, and then I've got my t-shirt. It's like, you're crazy, dude. So yeah, we're going to make a bunch of those and wear them around this November. Did you know that the two-party system, they're not like government-sanctioned, what am I looking for here?
Entities?
Entities. Yes, they're private organizations. Did you know that?
Yeah. It's part of the reason that everything is decaying. We need instant runoff or, preferential voting or something.
Yeah.
But they're colluding to make sure that never happens.
And that's why I don't party. Anyway, so we got those coming out soon. Thanks everybody for the chip in. We got some giveaways. I'm going to be giving away some graphic card this week. Graphics cards. Well, actually, probably Monday-ish. Monday, Tuesday-ish. I'm going to be giving away some graphics cards.
Within the next week.
Yeah, within the next week I'll be giving away some graphic cards. So stay tuned for that. Your eyes glued to the TV, don't touch that dial, and all that garbage.
Oh, also, happy birthday, original NES.
Oh, yeah, is it what is it, like 48 and 900 years old?
27 years.
27 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You can party, you can drink, you can smoke whatever he wants.
But he's still for kids. All right.
Blow him to make him work.
To blow him to make him work. That's how we're going to end this show.
That's really terrible. Let's do over.
No, it's just that's it. So these These images were. How's that? What are you doing?
What am I doing?
Yeah, I'm videotaping.
Oh, what am I doing? Nonsense right now. I just put a CX card we have lying around for some reason.
Our Quadro CX card now, right? It's in
Yeah,
there.
Quattro CX card, and I'm gaming on the 6850 while I'm rendering on the CX card. And the CX card doesn't seem affected at all.
Alright, so you're rendering over here?
I'm rendering on one screen, watching my render times, and actually going to...
And you're gaming?
Yeah. Just doing range because it does a lot on the CPU.
And over here, it's actually like... Wow, you're running... Well, it's not too hot.
Well, it's because I'm maxing out all the settings.
Rendering just fine.
I can't skip it because it's a consoleized game.
Oh, you got consolitis, you can't skip the cutscene.
Oh no, but I can watch my renders. And how many video editors can edit and game at the same time?
How does this make you feel?
How does this make me feel?